Welcome to another episode of Future Institute's Future Talks segment. Future Talks is a monthly podcast organized and hosted by Future Institute, a nonprofit organization committed to growing student success and building a better society. Each month, you'll hear from one of our stakeholders, either graduates, program participants, board members, sponsors, supporters, and community members. I am your host, Cengiz Karatas, Executive Director of Future Institute. Today, our guest is Lisa Meredith, Regional Director at ProVisors, a 30-year-old network of trusted advisors with over 7,000 members in 13 regions from Los Angeles to Chicago. Ms. Meredith is also one of our distinguished members of the Future Institute Board of Directors. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you for having me, Cengiz. This is a pleasure to be a part of this program today.
Proud to have you. Can you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. Well, my name is Lisa Meredith. As previously mentioned, I'm the Regional Director for ProVisors. The easiest way to describe the organization I work for is we are a community of senior professionals that represent the specialties in law, accounting, banking and finance. These are folks that are senior level, C-suite level professionals. Some are sole proprietors, own their own business, small to mid-sized firms, and the purpose of them being a part of ProVisors is that they come together not only to build a better network to assist their clients, but it's also to do commerce within the community. So it's a great, robust organization, and I'm proud to be the regional director here for the Chicago region.
You have a lot of great things going on. It's a great vision and endeavor. I think successful businesses foster a thriving economy and community, and you are doing a great job to support them.
You know, it's great because our mission is to have these senior professionals come together to get to know, like, and trust one another, out of which that's where the commerce comes from. And we are growing exponentially. We now have 17 regions across the country, stretching as far northeast as the New England area and as far as the Southwest area going into San Diego. So we intend to blanket the country. We have, in the midst of the pandemic where the entire country came to a screeching halt, networking was very difficult to do when you could not leave your home. So we were able to easily pivot in utilizing a platform like Zoom that we're on. It gave us an opportunity to not only have our members continue the camaraderie and the connection that they so desperately wanted to do, but it helped to identify a new channel of commerce. So now, without having travel restrictions, our members are loving the fact that with a click of a button, they can go anywhere in the country, be able to engage with their members, and still do substantive transactions.
Wonderful. As the regional director at ProVisors, what are your priorities?
Well, I have two hats. So obviously I help with recruitment. Now, because we are an exclusive organization, I don't do any outbound canvassing for members. It is a member-based organization, and it's based on member referrals. So if there is an existing member, they're the ones that are going to refer a colleague that's either in their firm or those that they, in their circle of influence, that they want to introduce to ProVisors. So I help integrate those candidates, introducing them to ProVisors, getting them registered to attend a meeting so they can determine on their own if whether or not this community fits their work dynamic. But the part that I love the most is the business development component. I'm an adjunct professor at Roosevelt, and I really have a professorial concept in how you approach networking. It's not that daunting walking into a room and you have hundreds of people that you don't know, and you're fielding through those just to get in front of the one or two that you want to meet. I, on the other hand, have created an environment here in Chicago using the ProVisor platform where I help make the introduction. So now you've done away with the hard work of trying to find the person. Because I know everyone in my region, I can put you in contact with your referral source or a potential client. And because they're also members, it kind of makes it more of a warm introduction as opposed to a cold call that really no one wants to do. So I work with that. I am very big on training and making sure that the member experience is elevated so that way we meet your expectations as a member. I do a lot of training to make sure that the policies and procedures are well understood and are consistent in their delivery. So that is whether or not it's in Chicago, in Atlanta, in Seattle, Washington, and all in between. We want to make sure that the member experience that you would get in one region would be replicated no matter where you go. So I play a role in that as well. So it's been very rewarding.
Amazing. Just like your personal relationships, business relationships take time to develop. It's an investment, and you're playing a pivotal role to ensure that.
Absolutely.
Do you mind sharing some key strategies to building meaningful business relationships?
I'll make it easy. I think that the first thing that works very well is being authentic. If you go into any kind of exchange, whether it's social or professional, and you go in with with clear communication, being transparent in what your interest is. What is your end game? What is it that you want to do? If it's whether or not you're selling a service or a product, or you're just trying to get to know someone, coming into the meeting or the conversation with authenticity, it helps the other person really get to know who you are. Secondarily, I think that coming in with a level of servitude. Now, I'm a firm believer that servant leadership is it's highly regarded, but it is underutilized. And a lot of people look at being a servant leader as being more on the weaker side, where you need to be assertive and you have to go in like a bull in the china shop. And honestly, I think that the relationships that I have formed that have been very transformative have been with me coming in with an understanding. I want to get to know you. I want to know what your needs are. I want to know about the services that you offer. And then in the back of my mind, as I'm hearing you tell your story and delivering what it is that you're doing, I'm thinking about who I can put you in contact with that's going to help you elevate your initiatives, or it's going to have a better connection. So those are a few things that I think if you want to build a really substantive relationship on a professional as well as a personal level, you got to come in with authenticity. You got to come in with a certain level of servitude.
Wonderful. Your system accelerates business results by harnessing best practices. Thank you for sharing, and it's very insightful. As I was reading your website, I noticed ProVisors is a supporting organization founded on principles of reciprocity and know, like, trust, refer.
Yes.
So that's quite self-explanatory, but can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Absolutely. So the know, like, trust, refer is really our mantra, or it really is the foundation of our core values. We firmly believe that what sets ProVisors apart any other professional business organization is the fact that we've created a safe environment. Our members do not come in with this idea of soliciting to their fellow member. You're not going to get a business card thrown at you or put on some random mailing list that you didn't subscribe to. We create a platform that not only encourages you to get to know one another, but it really cultivates that exchange where we want you to not just know people in a room, but we want you to be in a meeting where your referral sources and your clients are more likely going to be there. That's going to help encourage that sense of wanting to know more, doing a deeper dive into what it is that you do, having them do a deeper dive into what they do. That's where that synergy comes in. And then you get to the point where, because we meet once a month, you get to know that person more frequently, you get to exchange with them on a regular basis. And then that's where the like comes in, because you know them, they're consistent. They have probably probably, if you've met with them more than once, there has been an exchange where they've referred you to a client of theirs or vice versa. That's where that trust comes in, because they get to really know you. And it's not like pulling, and I guess I'm dating myself, pulling out an old Rolodex and trying to find someone to service your clients. And you know that that's what they do, but you don't know their work ethic. You don't know how good they are. And you really are putting your reputation on the line by referring a person to service your client. You want to know that person well enough so that way, when you make that referral, you can be rest assured that your reputation isn't compromised if that person falls short of delivery. So that's where the trust comes from. And out of that trust, obviously, referrals are going to come in, because you're more likely going to do business with people you like and that you trust than those that just are on a list of professionals, like in the yellow pages, like we used to go to when we needed services. So we understand that those are the core things that people look for when they're trying to build those great relationships. And we've created a platform in which to elevate that on a national stage.
Wonderful. Thank you for all this information. As an educator, my mind always focuses on our youth. So I want to ask you, do you also have any tips on how our community leaders, businesses can collaborate for our students' success?
Well, I think it goes back to my original point when you were asking what are the keys to building a meaningful relationship. Have the students, first of all, understand that we want to invest in they're our future. And of course, I know that we've used that statement ad nauseum, but mentorships, apprenticeships, those are things that if back in the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, apprenticeships, that was the only way that you could really get into a trade. And you looked forward to finding someone who had the skill and the experience to take you under their wing and show you the ropes. Somewhere down the line, it became an afterthought. I'm a firm believer of mentorships. That was how I got my start over 30 years ago in hospitality. Had it not been for someone seeing my potential and saying, hey, I want to take a chance on you, follow me, shadow me, let me show you what's going on. And then you can determine whether or not this truly is a career path that you're interested in. And that was how I got hooked. And in doing that, I'm a firm believer in paying it forward. And that was how I got into Roosevelt University, because I worked with the executive director in the hospitality college and told them that let's bridge that gap between the corporate life and the student, because most people look at internships and mentorships and they're like, oh, that's a waste of time. And, I really don't have time. Well, you do have time to make an investment in any other way. You check the stock markets, you're always looking for a discount, a coupon. I use that in a very simple term. Why not invest in the most valued treasure that we have? And that is our young folks who are really trying to adapt. They're having to balance all their lives. They're trying to fit into a social network. They're trying to identify who they are. Why not help and make that investment by showing them all of the trades that they have at their disposal? You have a lot of students that may feel, especially those that are in disenfranchised environments, that they're never going to get that chance, mainly because they've never seen anyone, possibly in their family, that has graduated from college, gone to college, has taken a corporate job. So we need to be those examples. And I do believe that we have that opportunity, which is why it's important that when we, like myself, are in roles that can make a difference and be that conduit between the students and the professional community, that we can do that so that way they can get that chance to make an informed decision and not just go to college because they just want to go to college, but be so strategic in their sophomore, junior years. So by the time they're a senior, they have a pretty good handle on where they want to go, what they want to do, and they're not wasting time and resources kind of figuring it all out during their first 2 years of college.
Very well stated, Lisa. Thank you. And I know you are extremely dedicated to really help our students and help them make a difference in their lives. I would like to talk about your involvement with Future Institute and your commitment to student success.
Sure. What attracted me originally to Future Institute was the fact that, of course, being a parent myself, my youngest daughter, she's now 25, has decided that she wanted to go into law school, and she will be the first lawyer in our family. So I had no resources in my own circle that I could share with her. But by me being a part of an organization like ProVisors, I was able to reach out to several attorneys who all were clamoring to offer her tips about getting involved. What are the pitfalls of being an attorney? What are the successes? So that way she can make, again, an informed decision. I truly believe that if we look at our students, again, as investments into our future, we need to make sure that not only do they have to deal with internal threats, meaning things that are right in their backyard, things that are in their family that they have to contend with in order to achieve their goals, but they have to deal with external threats. Right now, we have the biggest one that we've had in our in our lifetime, and that is a pandemic. We would not know how to handle that. That is impacting a lot of industries, and not in the positive way. So how do we help these students navigate all of that and still give them hope? So my thought in being a part of Future Institute is that I wanted to make sure that I'm paying it forward. I want to make sure that while I can't remove the threats in a lot of cases from their lives, at least I can offer them some hope, some education, some opportunity to meet some phenomenal people that can give them some insight as to the path that they can take should they decide to go in the areas that my members represent. So that was me. And then, of course, as I said before, I'm a servant leader. I'm a firm believer in wanting to do more, be more than who I am. And I believe that that is the gift that we were all supposed to be given. As a Christian, I'm a firm believer that when God tells you that you need to be here for a reason, He gives you breath every day. So how are you using this day? How are you using your skills? How are you using the knowledge that you've gained? All the arrows in your quiver are not just for your own purposes. They are to be used to better the community that you serve, better the community that you live in. And so that's my take on it.
Exactly. There are many factors that affect student success that might include socioeconomic status, mental health, personal issues,
Absolutely.
social habits, stress, time management, the list goes on and on. But any support, as you mentioned, coming from community that changed their world, and then they can stay focused and persist and hopefully be successful in life.
And you know what? I also thought just now, I had made a little note in the margins here as we were preparing for the meeting. One of the things that you had asked me was about community leaders. And I would charge anyone that is listening that is in a civil servant capacity that you do not ignore the students that are in your community. Because if you're not giving them the opportunity to have skin in the game, whether it is a community garden, whether it is an opportunity to spend a couple of days helping out purveyors, vendors, service providers in that community. If you don't offer them an opportunity, they're not going to invest in the community. They're either going to leave or they're going to be part of the problem. And that's not what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be a community that helps raise these kids. And that means looking outside of the box and finding ways that you can go into the schools that are right around the corner from the alderman's office and finding out what is it that the students can do to help you, not just canvass during election years, but what are some of the communities concerns, complaints. Now it's a hiring boom and no one wants to work. But let's find out, are there jobs that at a certain age, certain students can do, and go to them and say, hey, look, we'd love to have you come in and work a couple of days after school. We need to think different. And if nothing else, the pandemic has caused us, and I will say this even from ProVisors' standpoint, it forced you to market yourself better, both personally and professionally. We had to do a lot of introspection with us being shuttered at home where we couldn't go anywhere. And I think that you should use that as an opportunity to grow spiritually, financially, as well as in a community setting. Think about beyond yourself.
Lisa, thank you for being an advocate for student success. Thank you for your hard work, leadership, for being our motivation and strategic advisor at Future Institute to support our students' college and career success. Would you like to share any final remarks with our listeners?
I know we've kind of unpacked a lot. I'll leave you with this. I am a firm believer that you're not to just watch progress happen. You're not to be the judge of the level of progress that's happening. You know what? Actually make progress. And that is what's going to help us elevate beyond where we are right now as a human race. And I hope to do more of that personally.
Thank you again for giving your valuable time in your very busy schedule. You've been a remarkable guest.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a blessing.
I want to also thank our listeners as well. Hopefully you enjoyed this segment and continue to follow our monthly Future Talks. To learn more about Future Institute, visit futureinstitute.us or follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn at MyFutureUS.